Welcome to Share, sharing our wisdom with you. Brought to you by Local Wisdom Inc., where we've been producing smart, healthy, and happy websites for over 10 years. Hello, this is Mike Alfaro, and I'll be your host for this episode of Share. In this episode, I'm actually going to go through something that we posted on our blog, just to give people a sample of how it works. We ran into this not too long ago. It's just loading XML through Flash from another domain. Pretty much the situation is you have a Flash piece that works off of XML on one website, and you want to use that same Flash piece on another website, but you don't want to have two separate sources for the XML. You just want to use the same XML for both. When you move the Flash over, it doesn't quite function right, and there's something special you have to do. So I'm just going to go through that. It's all based on our post on our blog, which I'll put in the show notes. But let's get started. Pretty much what we have here is I put up a slideshow Flash piece on one of our client sites. All it is an HTML file. It runs off of this images XML, which point to all these gallery images here. Some nature and some sports images. And there's large and thumbnail versions. And it uses a little Swift. Let me show you what that looks like now. I'll refresh so you can see that this is actually live. You can see it's just a little slideshow. You hover over, it gives you thumbnails. If you hold up, it's got captions. And this is running right off of our client site, victoryselections.com. If you get a chance and you're looking for a wine distributor, check them out. They're great guys. Now, I took the same exact pieces and moved them over to our local wisdom site. I don't need the XML because I'm planning to point on the other to the one at Victory Selections. I don't need the galleries because the images are over there. The only thing I grabbed were the index file, the Swift itself, and the JS file. Now, when I go to this version and refresh, it doesn't quite run. Just sits here. Doesn't really go anything. As you can see, it is trying to make a connection to victoryselections.com, but nothing's coming back. It's just pretty much failing out. So if you go to our blog and check out the solution, we found a solution here. It actually comes from Adobe. Pretty much what it is by default, the security does not allow you to use other domains' data on your own site unless they've given you permissions. A simple way to get around that, and it's not really get around it, it's just the other site giving you permissions, is creating a file called a cross-domain.xml file where you specify what domains are allowed to read your data. And you just stick it in the root of the domain that's going to share the data that gives permissions to the other domains which want to use the data. All it really is you copy this little piece of XML code here. I minimize all the windows, and I'm just going to create a new XML file. So I'll just start with the text file. Bring this up. Paste it here. So this is just a sample of what they do. You see allow access from domain, and then you can put in the domain. You can even do an asterisk to just say anything that begins with foo.com, or you could actually specify an actual IP. So in our case, I'm just going to say anything that says local wisdom. And get rid of this. Get rid of that. This is just commented out, but this is just a sample of where you would drop this. But this is what we need to call it, cross-domain.xml. So I'll just grab that. And for example, we're going to place this on victoryselections.com. So this is actually where we're going to place this file. So let me save it. And I copied the name. Don't want to name it, so I'm just going to replace it here. So there's our file. So let me bring up. So now I'm in Victory Selections. I got to go to the root. And let me cross. Oh, it actually saved the text extension to it. So make sure it's an XML file. Copy it over. Now let's test this out. Let's go back to demo. Of course, nothing changes on the version coming from Victory Selections. Everything works properly. All the captions, everything's running fine. Okay, now I'm on the localwisdom.com one, which we know wasn't running. Let me refresh. Wow, all of a sudden it runs. So all it really is just a security setting that Adobe put into Flash. It's a smart way to do it. All that really needs to be done is the owner of the XML document, aka the data, has to give permissions to anyone else that wants to be able to use that data. And all they really need is the cross-domain.xml file that gives that permissions. Now, the code for that is actually on our blog. And the blog post is actually called Loading XML Through Flash from another domain. I'll actually put the link to this in our show notes on the actual blog post where you see this video. I hope this could help some people out there and you're not racking your heads over this. It took me about half an hour to find the solution to this, and it was actually pretty simple, and I totally understand why they're doing it. The security reasons make sense. I hope you could use this for yourselves and enjoy. See you next time. If you have any ideas you'd like to see shared, please contact us at share@localwisdom.com and follow us on twitter.com/localwisdom. And once again, this podcast was brought to you by Local Wisdom Inc., where we've been producing smart, healthy, and happy websites for over 10 years.